Zip away.
Hi, I'm Steve, the Zipline guy. Ziplines have been around for years, attached to tree forts and part of summer camp adventures. Today, they are big business. My career has been traveling the country, consulting, installing, and operating zipline tours. I've made my mistakes over the years and shoulder the stress of business every day. Join me as I apply my knowledge, skill, and money operating my business. Watch me let it all ride on the line. Hi there, folks. I'm Steve, and today we're going to deviate a little bit away from zip lines and dog breeding or music videos with my friend John Payne, but we're going to still hold true to our programming of the word unique, because today we're going to talk about UFOs. Woo. Hey, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe down below. Hit the like button and the bell so you get notifications. So next time we upload a video, you can hopefully tune in and check us out. So while we're holding unique to our programming model of something different you might not find anywhere else on the internet or in TV world, I want to talk today about UFOs. Now, let me take a step back and give a little bit of back history. We shoot a ton of video, terabytes and terabytes in file sizes, about zip lines, and we're outdoors and I'm doing drone footage all the time. And it's not until days, weeks, or months later, I'm going through all the files and I'm watching all the videos and I'm looking to see what segments I want to use for the TV shows. Well, today we're going to examine a little snippet I took on my drone that at first is pretty innocuous and very underwhelming. But when you see what I see and start asking the questions to process, it's not quite so easy to explain away, and I need your help. Now, do I believe in UFOs? I don't know, perhaps. Do I believe that mathematically there's the possibility for some other planet out there in the universe that could support life? Yeah, I think I do believe in the mathematics. Do I believe in little green men running around? I don't know, but I watch the same TV shows you do trying to debunk it. But what I'm going to show you today, I'm not saying these are little green men from outer space. All I'm saying is it's an object that's flying that I can't identify. So by definition alone, it means unidentified. It's a flying object. Please leave your comments down below. I'll read through them, and I'd love to see your input and your thoughts and ideas to help me understand what I captured. Now let's approach this from a scientific method. I can't reproduce the results, but I do have a lot of data. So let's break it down. First, location. I shot this at one of our zipline courses at Zip McCall Adventures, about 5-6 miles outside of the city limits of McCall, Idaho. There is an airport about 5.5 miles away. I'm outside of the controlled airspace, and I'm low to the ground, so there shouldn't be any kind of air traffic around me. Meaning there's no incoming pathways, takeoff landing or takeoff ramp areas, no holding patterns. I mean, there's usually nothing flying around in the sky, so I always feel comfortable flying my drone. The day in question is June 19th, 2021, just this year. It was a sunny day. It was about 42 degrees at the time of taping, which was 11:00. I started about 10:30, 10:40-ish, and I was wrapping up on one of my drone batteries of 30 minutes. So this video took place at 11:07 as I was flying it back to myself. I was using a Mavic 2 Pro drone. I didn't have any of my Polar Pro lenses, no ND filters. It was just a straight clear glass lens. And I'm pointing away from the sun. So there shouldn't be any kind of sun flares or lens flares or any kind of reflection. It doesn't look like that at all, but you be the judge. Now, today's purpose for the drone footage actually is I'm trying to get footage for my Zipline business for marketing. I was doing some time lapse, or the Mavic Pros call it hyperlapse, of Jug Handle Mountain, just the shot beforehand. So I'm going to show you that shot as well today, and the very next video which contains this object. Now when I fly up the drone and I did the hyperlapse, I did a waypoint and a waypoint, hit go, and then the drone moves, taking pictures along the way. When it's done, it's still in the air, on the same battery, I'm on the same controller, nothing's changed. All I did was go from facing south at Jug Handle, I did a 180 to face north, nice and slow with my own joysticks, back to my position where I was sitting on the ground. Again, the video I was taking just before at 11:05, I just finished up at hyperlapse. And oddly enough, that hyperlapse at the very end, the last few pictures, it went kittywampus and went up and pointed at the sky. Now, I've never had that happen before, and I haven't had it happen since, and I can't reproduce that little glitch on the last few frames, but I'll show you. But that's the video I took just before. It went glitchy at the end, ended it, turned the drone around, and then within 2 minutes, I was recording flying back. Now, as you watch the video, you'll see early on, it's kind of dark and it goes a little bit brighter. That's me manually adjusting the iris to improve the brightness a little bit and best color. So as I fly, it's as true as possible, and it minimizes post-production coloring or editing that I have to do to improve it. Did you see it? Did you see it? Here, I'll play it again. Normal speed. Did you see it that time? One more time, I'll slow it down, and I'm going to kind of do a silhouette around the area to kind of bring your attention so you kind of know the zone where to look for in case you missed it. Did you see it that time? That's the object. I don't know what it was. At first glance, it's very underwhelming. Doesn't look very important. I wrote it off as a bird at the time. But now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Now let me play this again, and I want you to look for a couple of other objects in the frame. One, in the upper right quadrant, you'll see a suspension bridge in the treetops. That bridge is 125 foot long, and it's about 100 feet off the ground. That's an important item for our scaling later on to try to understand the size of this object. And two, those treetops are between 100 and 150 feet tall. The ponderosas are 150. So we've got some items in the screen there that we can use for referencing for size and for scale. Now I'm going to rerun it here again in slow motion. Look, that dot starts way out in the horizon in the upper left corner, where it's coming in over from McCall, which is about 5,000 foot elevation. The airport's at 5,021. That's how I know. As you fly into those foothills of the mountains, the zipline course where I'm sitting is at 6,000. Where the drone is hovering is about 6,200 to 6,300 feet. And that drone is just underneath me, and behind me is Jug Handle Mountain, and it goes up to 8,000 foot peak. So what's flying so fast, so low to the trees, underneath my drone with no sound? Because I was sitting there about a quarter mile away, I didn't hear anything. This object almost flew over my head toward my drone. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. I didn't smell any fumes like a gasoline or an engine. Nothing. And that's why this video starts to get so interesting. It's underwhelming until you try to solve out what that object is. I don't think it's a bird. It's mostly white coming across the screen. And a bird kind of flutters and jerks and lunges in the air and kind of flies in a nondescript line. There's no fluttering or wings. This thing is just choo straight by, like a bullet. But if it was a bullet, I wouldn't have been able to see such a small bullet at that kind of speed. But what's mostly white flying like that? Is it an emergency flare? Does somebody need help? Are they in distress? I don't think it's a flare, because a flare would have an arch to it. Be shot more straight up and arch down and be red or orange in color. Is somebody hunting June 19th out of hunting season? Is it an arrow? No, I don't think an arrow is going to fly 3,000 or 4,000 feet, straight true line, be mostly white without an arch to it and be coming down. So I don't know what it is. Is it fireworks? Did somebody shoot off a firework? No. Again, they would shoot them up, not straight across. Let's explore that speed aspect again. If I'm shooting in 29.97 or 30 frames per second, that means the video is going to take 30 small still pictures or images to comprise 1 second of video. 30 frames per 1 second of video. Now remember, go back and look over the length of that suspension bridge and the height of those ponderosa trees, 100 to 150 feet. Way out in the distance, that white dot takes up about a top third of a tree, or 50 feet, or a little bit less. As the object comes toward the drone, you see it kind of start to elongate. I'm taking that off as blur from the speed. But if you watch from frame to frame to frame, I'm estimating that object's covering about 200 feet per frame. And the shutter speed's at 1/60th. Not really fast, not really slow. So it's about normal rate. But if we're covering 200 feet per frame, so it goes from 418, 12 frames more to 5 seconds, and then 10 more frames into the 5th second. So this whole thing is only 22 frames of video. It takes 30 for a second. So now I have zip lines all underneath this area, from 1,000-foot zips to 2,000-foot zips to half mile. I've walked this land back and forth. I've shot it with range finders. I've got 2,000-foot zips right underneath. So I know from the far ridge line where it just starts to come over the trees to where the drone is, it's about 3,500, 4,000 feet. How does an object go 4,000 feet in under a second? So let's do the math. If that's going 200 foot per frame and there's 30 frames per second, that thing's moving 6,000 feet per second. If that's the case, this thing is moving about 4,200 miles an hour. It's just the math. Where did I go wrong? 30 frames per second, so it's 30 times 200, gets me 6,000 feet per second. Times 60 seconds to get the minute, times 60 minutes to get an hour. And then do the math and divide out by 5,280 or 240 feet per mile, you get the miles per hour. So that's simple. So at 4,200 miles an hour, this is going 5.37 times the speed of sound, Mach 5.3. I don't know any aircraft that can fly that fast unless they're in outer space. And here we are about 100 feet off the treetops at a straight line to an 8,000 foot peak mountain behind me. So did it just stop? Did it turn? Did it go up 2,000 feet to clear the mountain? Did it crash? Well, if an object was 30 to 50 foot in size, which is twice the size of a car, if it crashed, you'd hear a noise, wouldn't you? Would we not see a fire? Could we not go up and find broken trees and debris or the spot in the earth where it hit? We heard nothing. So at 5.3 times the speed of sound, what pilot could turn? Because the mountain's only about a half a mile to a mile behind me. At that speed, who can turn to avoid the mountain or go up 2,000 feet literally less second and not hit it and pull those kind of G-forces? I don't know. I don't know. So again, this is a very underwhelming video. And if you write that speck off as a bird, you're all good. But I don't think it's a bird. Based on color, flight pattern behavior, how close it was to the treetops, it came out of nowhere, how fast it's moving, all the evidence adds up to it's not a bird. And I wouldn't have been able to see a bullet, and it's mostly whitish. I don't know. I don't know. Write in the comments below what you think it is. Help me debunk this. Help me understand what I've got. I want your help. I want to sleep at night. What is this object? Let me know down below. All right. So there you have it, folks. My UFO video. Very underwhelming till you try to understand what you saw. So if you like this video and you want to see more kind of unique programming, go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below. Please be sure to hit the smash and like button and hit the bell notifications to get notified next time I do an upload or do a premiere. Thanks again, folks, for tuning in. I'm Steve from Zipline Productions. Have a good day. Bye now.